Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's second video. We're going to have a look at the weather. Let's do 14 days for today's second video. Day 10 will take us to the 27th of July. And we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the GFS and ECM Ensembles. Maybe on track a couple of weeks. We'll have a look at CFS V2 at the end of the video for next 4 weeks. Gets us into the middle of August. I shall get time for that for you in a moment. Just save that first. Video saying, what's our 6am UK weather forecast? Please like, share and subscribe on all of today's videos and content, and thank you so much everybody for doing that for GavsWeatherVids. Thank you so much everyone. We're only got around 3 subscribers, by the way, 3 to get ourselves to 18.6k. So if you could give us a sub, it would be amazing. Let's push on and get our next 100 within 18k. Wow. Thank you so much everyone. Hope you're having a lovely Wednesday. Right, let's start off with CT as always. Central temperature is now sitting at 14.6. That's 1.4 degrees below 61 to 1990 average. It's provisional to yesterday, to the 16th of July. So into the second half of July, and we're still running about 1.5 degrees below the old and cold temperature average. You'll notice a bit of a change here. June central temperature still at 14.0, but a slight tweak means that is now 0.0 as an anomaly rather than 0.1 of a degree below average. It's now bang on average. They haven't moved the overall CT up by a tenth of a degree, so they've been tweaking it, I think, by less than a tenth of a degree. And so it's still at 14.0, but instead of being 0.1 of a degree below average, it's 0.0. No, there's been quite a few tweaks and changes taking place within the CT index again yesterday. So I think it's going to be like a yearly thing that the Met is going to be doing now, going to be tweaking the central temperature pretty much every year, I think. So there we go. It's up to you what you make of that. I shall not give my 2 penneth. Right, well, these are the 500 millibar Height Anomalies flowcharts of Penn State University for the next week, 10 days. We've got the ECM WF on the top, and the GFS is down here on the bottom. 500 millibars, 80,000 feet, is an area in the actual high pressure and low pressure being moved around by the jet stream running above. Blue extrapolates to below average height, which is low pressure. Yellow, orange and red to above average heights, which is high pressure. Mean flow charts for the 7-10-day time frame, and you can see that the ECM looking rather Atlantic driven and westerly. It's getting us towards the end of July as well, sort of up to the 27th of July. ECM looking rather Atlantic driven and westerly. And the GFS is very similar. In fact, the GFS is probably more unsettled, if anything, in the 10-day time frame, with a deeper low towards Iceland in the North Atlantic. High pressure again is down to southwest, and again we're bringing in a wind from off the Atlantic. So after this little interruption really to the unsettled and mixed weather that we're having over the next few days as it's turning warmer and drier, it looks as though next week is basically back to business as usual. Well, these are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. On Telford today, the red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Telford. We're starting off about average with the upper air temperature at the moment. They're going to be lifting up over the next 2 or 3 days, becoming very warm. From the south and southeast on Friday, it will be hot. Could last into Saturday as well. Beyond that, the upper air temperature slide away later on in the weekend. And next week looking generally about to a little bit below average. Possibly a warming trend though, right at the end of July and into the start of August. However, having said that, it's a long way off, and it is therefore in the unreliable time frame of the GFS and its ensembles. Precipitation-wise, lots of dry weather to come over the next 2 or 3 days. Not completely dry, will be a little bit of light rain for the north and west, but overall fair amount of dry weather. Turns more unsettled over the weekend, possibly even a bit of a funky breakdown. We'll have to firm up on that. And then next week looking rather showery. Again, that's not a deluge, but just a continuation of what we've had really with showery bursts to come, and maybe a drying trend towards the end of July and the beginning of August, but again, that is a long way off. Temperature anomalies from the 17th to 25th of July, just a little bit above average now, so that's a bit of a change on what we've had through July so far. And precipitation anomalies from the 17th to 25th of July, largely drier than average away from the far west of Scotland and Northern Ireland. The latest wind from that from earthnullschool.net shows that we've got a ridge of high pressure going to build up from the south today. Still low pressure out in the Atlantic, though, up here, around here. No, there's a weather system through there, but will eventually push in as we go into the weekend. But we've got 2 or 3 days of mostly dry and fine weather to enjoy. And that brings us very nicely onto the chart data. So this is how the latest UK Met Euro run is looking for midnight on Saturday. So by then, the ridge is weakening and slipping to the east as that low pressure in the Atlantic starts to head our way. That sends the trough through the country from Saturday into Sunday. There'll be a cold front that's in this sort of rough position. And as I said, it might trigger bit of a thundery breakdown, more low pressure waiting in the wings in the Atlantic. That starts moving in from Sunday into Monday. And then next week just looks rather flat and westerly again, really back to the scenario of high pressure south, low pressure to the north, bringing the wind in from off the Atlantic, with the most unsettled conditions likely to be in the north and the west. Icon, once more, with low pressure gradually moving in from off the Atlantic on Saturday, breaking down the dry and warm spell into the beginning of next week. Another low pressure punching through there from Sunday into Monday. That gets out of the way. We try and raise the heights a little bit from off the Atlantic in the middle part of next week, but there is more low pressure out of the Atlantic next week, looking rather cooler and a little bit mixed as well. The KMA once more brings that trough through on Saturday through to Sunday. That might have some heavy rain, maybe some heavy showers in with it as well. Then more low pressure into the early part of next week. Keep seeing rather cool and unsettled weather going, heading up towards day 10. High pressure trying to ridge up from the south, so trying to turn a bit drier, warmer down in the south, but low pressure remains out to the Atlantic, to the north and to the northwest. Looks like next week is basically back to what we've had through July so far. The GFS midnight run, again, takes that ridge away to the east on Saturday, allows the trough to come in from the west. That brings showering conditions through Saturday, possibly a bit of thunder. And then into the beginning of next week, low pressure coming in off the Atlantic, keeping it rather unsettled through Monday and Tuesday. A bit of a transient ridge building from southwest on Wednesday. Then we're back into like a flat westerly flow for the second half next week. High pressure south, low pressure to the north. And so relatively cool-ish and showery, particularly for the north and the west. Beyond that, bit of a change with the GFS midnight run though. High pressure starting to build over and to the north of the country this time, begin to allow some hotter air to come up from the continent, although there is a thundery low there. It's around Biscay. But overall turning drier and warmer there with the GFS midnight run as we get to the end of July and the beginning of August. The GFS 6Z, by comparison, again brings this trough in from off the Atlantic on Saturday. Beyond that, low pressure keeps coming as we go into the beginning of next week, with further showery conditions on the way. Middle of next week to the second half of next week, with high pressure south, low pressure to the north. We're back into the flat westerlies again. That's day 9, actually looking rather cool and unsettled then. Winds coming in from the northwest, so cool and showery for days 9 and 10. But then again, the GFS 6Z also starts to get this ridge going right at the very end of July. Albeit there is an unusually deep area of low pressure in the Atlantic. Not sure about that. That looks rather autumnal, that low there. That's probably being overdone. But anyway, we go into this sort of pattern of high pressure south, low pressure way to the northwest. Quite warm in the south, drawing up the wind from a southerly, southwesterly direction before we eventually finish up going cool cooler and unsettled again for the beginning of August. If you enjoyed the video, please do like, share and subscribe. Make sure to show everyone forward to your match. Drop a comment, let us know anything about this and all of our videos and content. Don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids. Get them to subscribe too. We thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. Okay, GM, again, looking much of a muchness for Saturday. 3 subscribers, by the way. Gets us to 18.6k. Wow, 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 wow. Let's do it. Let's get to 18.6k. Let's do it. Why not? Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, GM, once again, looking much of a muchness for Saturday. High pressure slipping away to the east, low pressure out to west. We're drawing up that very warm, locally hot southerly wind. By Sunday, a trough is moving across the country, bringing cooler air and possibly some outbreaks of rain, maybe a bit of thunder, into the beginning of next week. Low pressure punching through Monday to Tuesday, bringing further wet, cool conditions from off the Atlantic. Then we're flat as a pancake through Wednesday and Thursday, with low pressure to the north and high pressure to the south, bringing in those westerly winds, and they carry on up to day 10, which takes us to the 27th of July there with the gem. And finally, for the chart data, we've got the ECM looking like this. So low pressure bringing the trough across the country on Saturday, ending our little brief warm up. We go through to Sunday, we're in a cooler and rather showery northwesterly flow. Another low punches through there Monday through to Tuesday. That could bring some unsettled weather in with it. Then the Azores high trying to reach back up the southwest through the middle part of next week, but really we're bringing in the wind from the Atlantic, so still relatively coolish, probably quite a lot of cloud. And then days 9 and 10 deepens low pressure to the northwest Scotland again, bringing outbreaks of rain back to the north and the west in particular. This is a precipitation forecast based on the ECM run from tomeshow.com. So rain in the northwest over the next day or so, mostly dry elsewhere. That takes through to the end of the week and into the weekend. So this is Saturday. Heavy rain at the western side of the country. Ahead of it will be quite hot. So Friday will be hot in the south and southeast. The temperatures reaching 30 degrees. Saturday, much more of a question mark about that, because we've got a cold front coming across the country, and ahead of it we might start breaking out some heavy showers and thunderstorms. So how quickly this cold front spreads across the country will determine whether we get another hot day to the east and the southeast on Saturday. This looks like it's bringing the cold front across the country relatively quickly, I have to say. So would limit the temperature potential on Saturday quite a lot. In any case, by Sunday, all of that wet weather and possible thunder is out of the way, and then we're into this cooler, showery northwesterly flow for more wet weather spreading in with this area of low pressure from Monday through to Tuesday. Then we go back to dry conditions around the middle part of next week, before showery bursts return as we head up towards day 10. These are the options on the table within the ECM Ensembles today for day 10 from the Icelandic Met Office. Gets us to the 27th of July. 20 members of the ECM Ensembles with low pressure over and to the northwest. Country could be quite unsettled and relatively cool. Cruise patrol and the operational realm. 16 again with low pressure to the north of Scotland. High pressure down towards France, and we keep wind in from the west with that turn. And then we've got another 15, most unsettled of all the options, with quite a deep low actually over the top of the UK and Western Europe, so that would be cool and unsettled. In 2 weeks time though, these are the options that we've got. Gets us to the 1st of August. Size of a change maybe. 17 members of the ECM Ensembles with high pressure out in the Atlantic. Probably lower pressure towards Denmark, Scandinavia. So we're probably bringing in a wind from like a northwesterly direction with that. But raising the heights in the Atlantic could be starting to dry out. 17 with high pressure to the southwest, trying to ridge in from off the Atlantic, a little bit westerly. Northwesterly with a flow. 9 again, building up some higher pressure to the south, but still with lower pressure out to the northwest. That's going to be rather westerly. And then we've got 8 with high pressure right over the top of the country and ridging up towards Scandinavia. That would be the driest and the warmest of the options. It looks as though by the beginning of August we might be trending towards higher pressure. So let's wait and see where that's going. That's perhaps a sign of a bit of a change for next month. We'll see. CFS V2 finally, and then we're done. These are 500 millibar high times broken down into weekly periods. The first week period take us from the 17th to the 23rd of July, with low pressure out to the northwest, high pressure to the southwest, still bringing the wind from off the Atlantic. Week 2 is going to be the 24th to the 30th of July, with high pressure ridging in from the southwest. That should bring quite a lot of dry and relatively warm weather with it. Now, this was very encouraging if you want some drier, warmer, dare I say it, hotter weather. This is the first week of August, 31st of July to the 6th of August, with high pressure, big area of high pressure, not just a ridge, but a big area of high pressure, probably up to about 1,030 millibars, right over the top of the UK and Ireland. If that came off, then summer is in, not just for a day or two, like we're going to have this week, but summer is properly in, properly off and running then, if that comes off. And week 4 keeps it going. Look at this, a prolonged spell of hot weather through the first half of August would be likely here, 7th to the 13th of August, with a high pressure just to the east country. Bring up those winds from the south or from the southeast. That could be a heat wave, actually. No, the CFS, I should say, quite bullish today for something much, much warmer, dare I say it, hotter, possible heat wave in the first half of August. Now, whose summer forecast predicted that the summer would really step up by a few years in August? I wonder whose forecast was that? I don't know. Anyway, just one CFS run. Could look different tomorrow, but that's what the CFS is showing today. Right, we're done. If you've enjoyed the video, please you like, share, and subscribe. And show everyone for doing that. Drop a comment. Let's know what you think about this and all of our videos and content. Don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids. Get them to subscribe to free subscribers will get us to 18.6k. So if you could give us a sub, thank you so much everyone for doing that. Right, tomorrow we're going to have the UK weather forecast at 6 a.m. We will have, as well as all of that, the European outlook. That's back again tomorrow, detailed European outlook, and there'll be a 10 to 14 there as well. Keep checking back to the channel for more. And for this one, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.